Hi, folks. This is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report. And I got to tell you, you hear the old words, location, location, location. They talk about that for real estate, but it's also fishing. You've got to be able to put your lure where the fish is. And so we've talked about the importance of learning to cast as accurately as possible. But I want to take this to sort of a little bit different aspect, and that is presentation. Presentation is everything. And I want to talk about two different baits that, as I've got to be a better fisherman, and hopefully every year I get a little bit better, my presentation hopefully gets better. And how you present a bait is every bit as important, maybe more important, than the bait that you select. Most baits that we have on the market today have been designed to catch fish and fishermen, okay? Anything will work under the right circumstances. So you've got to make those right circumstances. So being able to present them. So let me take two baits that I've been using. Number one, a chatterbait. Now, a chatterbait it has a special kind of pivoting lip. In other words, the lip can move and vibrate. And the lip has a living rubber skirt on it. Kind of picture a spinnerbait, but it doesn't have a blade. It doesn't have a flashy blade or anything. But what this does is you attach some kind of soft plastic attachment to it, and it really takes what was once a jig and makes it a vibrating, wiggling jig. So you can take, when we talk about jig fishing, it's all the action you put into the bait. With a chatterbait, it's taking that jig, now has its own motion maker, which is that special lip, and now you can just fish it like a crankbait. You can just throw it out and reel it in. And this becomes really, really effective if you present it properly. If you throw it out, you reel it at the right speed, you get the right depth. All this is very important, but I've talked about it with spinnerbaits. It's really important when you start using a chatterbait that the soft plastic you attach to that jig head is in balance. In other words, it isn't too big to overcome the vibration and the wiggling of the head. And this is all, it just becomes a fine balance. But if you do it right, if you get the right size and color of bait on there, and the color you kind of want to match with the skirt, the living rubber skirt that the jig becomes, and so then it becomes a one-piece unit that looks alive, and it can be tremendous. I have caught more fish this spring using that bait. In the past years, I didn't use it near as much because I really didn't have faith in it and didn't present it in the way that the fish seem to love. It happened by accident this year, but after I started catching a lot of really big fish, I paid attention to what retrieve speed and what depth was getting those strikes, and it became one of my go-to baits. Another bait is a fluke, and we talked about it a week ago, but a fluke is a soft plastic bait that's tapered down to a fine point at the end. Its tail becomes pointed as opposed to a paddle bait. So when you bring it through the water, it can dart from side to side, and it gives you a whole different action. But it's learning how to present it in the best way. When I started using the fluke, I figured, well, it's that darting back and forth that's going to work the best. But I found through my presentation that if I threw it out, you could almost fish it like a soft plastic worm, in that if you let it just fall, it's going to flutter a bit. And a lot of times they'll pick it up on the fall, and they will be more likely to hit it if you just sort of hop it up and down a little bit in the location you casted it. Casted? Is that the right word? In the location you cast it. And then rather than just reeling it in at a steady speed and darting it, sometimes they don't want to follow as much as they want to hit it when it's slowly dropping. So again, learning the presentation. Boy, I'll tell you what, the fluke can be that one-all, catch-all type of lure. It's that good, but you got to learn how to fish it, and you have to have faith in it. So Presentation, presentation. As we go forward, we try to look at the different things that make a difference with the lures that we use and how we fish them. And there's so many parts to the puzzle. There's casting precision. You got to put it where the fish are, or it doesn't matter how good you are. Presentation. As long as you're in the area where the fish are, then you present it in the way that's going to fool the fish. So, and then there's other things, choosing the right color, choosing the right size. All those things become important. But presentation. For this week, we're going to dwell on presentation. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report.